Hello, we are Sornia. Thank you for being there for us. Wonderful times that you are experiencing and not so wonderful times. But much is going on as always. It's always. It's never static. The world in which you are a part of, and that world is vast. It's not just your narrow vision of what you are capable of seeing in that band of light, if you will, that's third dimensional reality. It's much more than that. And by now, most of you understand that. We're curious to know how much you are seeing and sensing your world differently of late. Lots of activity going on. So there's so much that isn't in your line of vision, your five senses. There's so much that you're not capable of perceiving and understanding, not so much, but perceiving. It's out of the ability of your five senses to bring that information in. And then many of you don't even use your five senses to see what is available for you from the five senses. And this has been increasing over time. What we mean by this is you're limiting yourselves more through your five senses, which is narrowed the band even more of what information can come to you. And a lot of the information that's coming to you from outside of your own internal understanding, your own guidance, much of it is distorted, much of it is not true, much of it is part of that illusion. And therefore, what you are receiving, you can't even be sure that it has any value for you. So why are we talking about this with you? You who hear these messages are not caught up in the game. You're not lost on your journey of, enlightenment, if you will, or that expanded state. You're truly there. You're understanding yourselves. But we share what we share with you at this point, especially in this session, to help you to understand those individuals who are not in the same frequency or vibration that you are. And this is important because you have all volunteered to be part of this helping humanity free themselves from the limitations. And it's so simple, but not easy. And when you can understand it, because you've gone through it, that's the other thing. You've gone through it. You've allowed yourself to grow out of the limited forms. You're not done. You're still doing it. You find yourself falling into different scenarios. You have your patterns, but you're aware of everything. But you have a greater insight and experience, which allows you to help others see what it is that they need to see. When we said at the beginning that even the information you are receiving through your five senses is becoming more and more limited, we want you to know, not so much for all of you. In fact, we'll talk about that in a moment. But for those individuals who are unaware, who are caught up in the matrix, we'll say, caught up in all of that and just living their lives and still pursuing the illusion as a means of satisfaction or what they have to do, those individuals are the ones that you have all volunteered to assist in helping them see who they really are. So you will be having more encounters, probably in the most unusual places. Say you're out and just buying some groceries, or, you may be taking a walk with your dog or yourself, and you sit on a park bench and you start up a conversation with someone. It will be very casual, or you're grabbing a coffee from somewhere. Be mindful, be alert, be very alert at this time, because the individuals that you can plant some seeds, because it is planting seeds, even though you've been planting seeds for a long time, these are individuals that are in need of getting just those words or some idea planted in their essence. That's what you'll be doing. So you kind of stepping back in your approach, what you may have been doing 10 years ago and planting seeds, you're going to be planting seeds, but differently, because you're in a different place yourself. Now, we want to talk to you also in mentioning that those of you who are aware should be able to see through that facade much better. You've had some events of late with your world, many. You could just go and pick some. And we've been observing you, and you have been coming and sharing with us how much easier it is for you as the observer to see, say, some tragic event happens and the media is talking about it, and what you have been reporting to us, and we see it as well, is you are able to see the manipulation through language, the manipulation and distracting you and carrying you into fear with their words and the energy that's associated with them. Some of you have even been able to see greater, because you have changed, able to penetrate and see through the eyes down into, the essence of the individual, and know whether they're speaking truth of source, God's truth, or are they mimicking the truth? Because what's happened is that those that have evolved to where they have, you and others, the state that you're at, your perception is very keen, and it's going to become more so. So listen and pay attention. And the reason being is you're practicing right now to understand how you receive that information. You're listening to a newscaster, and he or she is providing information, and you're listening and you're feeling something that doesn't feel right. Then keep on listening and paying attention. See if you can't go beyond the facade of that newscaster to the truth of who that newscaster is. Because in your world, there are many, many entities that are not of human form. And you know this. We're not telling you something you haven't heard before. But there are many more that are not, their origins are not from humanity. They are alien forces, a lot of you call them, and have infiltrated much of your media, all over, okay? Nothing to be afraid of. In fact, at sometimes we feel that you find it kind of comical, not in the sense of the harm that they do, but how you couldn't have seen it before. And if those of you that are going, wait a minute, I don't know if I am seeing that, the way Sornia is talking about it, be patient, because you are. Keep doing what you're doing, because this is necessary for you to understand this, so that you can, not just for yourself, but move the wall or dissolve the next layer of limitation that is part of the collective. And it's with this force that you that are hearing this message and understand what I am saying, you are able to generate the strength of that force of good, of truth. Let's go back to truth. It's better than good or bad truth, because truth is truth. And truth is compassion, love, acceptance, all of those things. You are able to use that vibration and frequency to dissolve the limitations in the collective, because you are strongly working with the collective right now, with the collective energy. We spoke to you about being victimized and how that is so strong for so many individuals, that being a victim of circumstances, right? Well, many of you who heard that session were really taken by it, and you begin to look at not just the people around you, but to look at yourself very clearly. And this is what you want to do. So that's what's opened your eyes. That's why, and it's not a literal opening of your eyes, it's the opening of maybe your third eye, you would say, but it's the opening of you being receptive and aware of what is deception and what is truth. And when you are able to do that, in particular, have some fun with this, by the way, but in particular with the media, watch your television stations for a while, just for a while, and see what it is, including your commercials. Watch them, observe them from that place, not as a passive viewer, but from that place of, I want to understand, I want to see. Let me look into the eyes of the newscaster. Let me penetrate that if possible and see the truth. What's truth here? Who's speaking truth here? And do this and share this with others. It's going to be a snap of the fingers, truly, when you dedicate yourself to that. Because this collective energy of this limitation, that you are victims, that you are lowly and unworthy, and you just have the five senses and all the rest of it that comes to you intuitively, that's just your imagination. Why pay attention to that? All of that falsehood, that limiting belief that you are nothing more than a meat suit, okay? Maybe that's a little... I don't know if you like what I just said, but that's how you are seen by forces that want to keep you in their control. See, these forces are panicking, and they know that all of you coming together, all of us coming together in the way that you are, is what's going to move the wall of the blockage, that wall that has kept you from knowing truth, fully knowing truth. Now, those of you who hear this and have experienced it, what you consider certain experiences of truth, you've done your, practices, your spiritual practices, you've not seen anything yet. Guarantee you, that was a tip of the iceberg. So there's more for you to understand about truth and the essence of who you really are that's coming to you as you're moving forward in this experience right now of the ascension. You call it the ascension, right? Fear from you that we see is there. We see fear. But what you're doing with the fear is you're giving it a good shove out the door. You're not allowing it to dictate your behavior. In fact, fear is not even a threat to you, but it's still a threat, and fear is not understood by so many. Now, so many have mastered this, but this will be the way that you will be able to demonstrate your truth. When something fearful happens on a global scale, and you've been having things, how do you stand up to it? How do you face it? In what way are you showing your courage and bravery and truth in the face of fear? Very important. Now, this is going on globally, and let's put it this way. All of you are coming out of the closet, as they used to say, right? You're showing yourselves and speaking what you feel is your truth, and you are not afraid to let yourselves be seen for who you really are. And some of you might go, well, I've always done that. No, you haven't. And we're not here to judge you for that. All of you have, because of life on Earth and 3D and all of that, you've been conditioned. And yes, you've moved way past your conditioning, but there are still aspects where you put on a false face, shall we say, out of fear of being known for something or other that you fear, that you dislike about yourself. Or you feel, a lot of you, it's about, and you've moved past this, most of you, but there's still some of you who are afraid of not being accepted, and that the people around you won't care for you anymore, and that you will find yourself isolated and alone. And that may very well happen. If you believe that you are alone, then you are alone. But all of you know you are not alone. You are never alone. And this is one last thing we do want to touch on here. And it's that very energy of, I guess, feeling alone. We know this because you come to us throughout your day. So many of you, I'd say most of you, your heart aches for that feeling unified with others, for that community, to live in a world where there's no cruelty, that there is, you may say, oh, utopia. Yes, in a sense, but that there's community and that you work with each other and all of that. And because there are pockets and there are areas in your world where people live like that, and lots of you, most of you, aren't in those areas because you've chosen to go into parts of the world on Earth that need what you have to offer, and therefore you are there. And oftentimes, not more than oftentimes, practically all the time, you have felt not part of the community in which you are residing. This is going to change if, and we should say when rather than if, because we know what you're going to do. When you shine the truth of who you are, you speak your truth. Does that mean you have to go over and call up everybody and say, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah? No. But you begin to be that. And when you keep your mouth shut about something that you feel, well, I can't say anything, they'll think that I'm this, that, and the other thing. And times you do have to keep your mouth shut. But if you have that inner guidance and that intuitive part will tell you, yes, you need to say something, you will be confident in saying it. This is the time. And this is how part of, the unifying everyone. Because you can't be unified in a whole if it's the house of cards, basically. When you are not in your truth, it won't last. It'll come tumbling down. That's why this is here. And this is exactly what these forces that don't want you to know who you are want to keep you there, because then you feel helpless. So this next period of time, you may be feeling the intensity of separation and aloneness, I guess. It's not solitude, because many of you love the solitude. It's a feeling of separation from others, more so than source, because most of you feel your connection to source, and that's strengthening. Since the last time we came, we see that most of you are feeling stronger connection, but we're talking about that feeling, that connection with your neighbor, with your family, with those people that come into your life. That's going to increase. So we don't know if you're going to feel more alone. That might be the prompt. We think you've already been feeling terribly alone, because that's what we have been hearing from you. And we told you to be patient, because that unifying force was coming forward in order to bring the energies that would make it more possible that all align with that sense of community, that sense of unity. And you will begin to feel the force of all of that. That's the next great event that we are anticipating will be coming, and it's all done through your work. So hopefully this makes sense. We try to not go off too far, but we feel it's important always that we share what we can with you. We're very grateful to the medium in that she does what she can to bring forth the messages with unconditional love and acceptance. It's not always easy to bring messages forth that might be difficult to share, but hopefully you are feeling that they are shared with love and compassion. Most of you are. We just enjoy these sessions we have with you and look forward to them, and enjoy when you come and share your insights with us. We're not done with what we have set out to do, but we're sure making headway. And keep going, and remember that you are loved. You are loving beings, and nothing can change that. And love is the most powerful force that exists. With that, we are going to step away. We are Sornia. Goodbye.